Burrough Hill and Leicestershire Circular Trail. Such a fierce walking trail. I set off on a slightly different trail from my last expedition. Burrough Hill Country Park in rural Leicestershire was the set-off point. On a sunny winter morning, wrapped in multiple layers of clothes, I ventured out in the amazing pastoral Leicestershire. One has to walk through a farm track with fields on either side. Cows were to my right, feeding. And walking a few yards away from the grazing cows, there was an extensive farmyard to my left. Burrough Hill is accessible through a small gate which leads to grazing fields with very low grass. The hill is at 210 meters high above sea level, which provides a panoramic view of the Leicestershire countryside. There are multiple trails which lead off the hill, and I decided to stick to my trail, though navigation was slightly challenging. Having a bird's eye view of what was ahead did not inspire confidence, as people were busy dodging the mud. Finally, my turn came to walk the talk, and it was all good fun. I thought about the wellies I left at home, but it did not sound a great idea at the time, doing a 10k walk in wellies. I had the choice of either being pricked by the bushes or mingle with the mud. Guess what? I opted for the former, though my jacket took the brunt of it. Having wellies was the best option for this part of the trail. After a few minutes of procrastination, I finally made it to a friendly path. My attention was quickly diverted away to the amazing bushes. These are gorse bushes covered with pretty yellow flowers which are edible in small amounts and taste of coconut. No sooner had I left the wicket path than came round 2. The plan was to go through the 3 gates, and I had to come up with a plan. I eventually realized there was no plan, and I had to go for it. It wasn't as bad as I expected it to be, and I eventually got to the 3rd gate. The trail was predominantly quiet. I guess it's not everyone's cup of tea during this time of the year. Only the brave dare to walk outside, and a few people walking their dogs, and the few who would not stand watching Sunday television. Then came round 3. This time I had to think outside the box and go off the beaten track. I ventured off the track, going to my right, only to find an alternative path created by people who had walked earlier on. This was definitely a much better option, as the trail was definitely much less wet and muddy. Finally, all the fun and distraction were gone, and I started to marvel at the picturesque countryside. Going through the nearby forest, with all the trees having given up their leaves for winter, I made headway to Burrough Hills. A reminder to everyone using the trail to respect private property and to stick to the designated trail. The ground beneath was super saturated with water, and there were multiple puddles along the path. These were quite handy in cleaning my boots. Finally I got to the hilltop, and I was welcomed by this gorgeous landscape lit by the afternoon sun. I must say it was deceptively cold, with temperatures of 5 degrees centigrade. I was well insulated with a few layers of clothing on. I came across a small gentle streamlet of clear water which was flowing downhill towards a small forest. The water was crystal clear and I was nearly tempted to take a sip. My trail was clearly signposted and I pushed ahead. As I approached Somerby High Street, I heard the sounds of horses trotting, so I ordered my legs to walk faster so I could catch a glimpse of them. I later found out that there was a nearby horse training school. Crossing the road to catch sight of the local telephone booth turned library and rural phone box defibrillator. Walking along Newbold Lane, I could only imagine how splendid this stretch of the road would look like on a lovely summer or autumn evening. Stables at Somerby Horse Training School with their residents enjoying the gentle outside breeze. The trail took me once again to the fields and I stopped to admire the landscape. Surrounded by the tranquil hills of Leicestershire and sounds of nature, this gave me a meaningful connection to myself and nature as well. I could only imagine getting back home, feeling uplifted, motivated, and recharged. As I approached Burrough on the Hill, I went through a pine farm. However, some of the trees had dried up. On the main street, I came across this impressive building that stood out. I later found out that it's Burrough Manor House, which is an 18th century brick-built house, and it is Grade 2 listed building. St. Mary the Virgin Church was open to the public and the organist was busy rehearsing. I nearly entered for chit-chat, but I was pressed for time. On a sad note, the trail went through farm fields with no alternative routes to use. I followed the map. I wonder if there is any kind of understanding between the farmers and the local council. I finally made it to the end, and I'm glad you've got this far. Thank you for coming along. Till next time.